Why are certain nations essentially barred from entering the United States? It's not merely about a handful of visa rejections scattered here and there. We're discussing a state of outright visa denial. Stringent border controls, mountains of paperwork, and approval odds that are nearly insurmountable define this reality. Could your nation be included on this list? Or perhaps worse, is it listed for reasons kept out of the public discourse? From conflict zones and political upheaval to deeply ingrained distrust between nations, these places are practically invisible on America's list of welcomed visitors. A significant number of events have unfolded across the globe, and it's time we examined them. Stay with us as we delve into these complex issues, and remember, we'll be drawing conclusions at the end of this video. We encourage you to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Your support is crucial for helping us continue bringing you these important stories. Also, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We love hearing from our diverse audience. Why are some countries basically blacklisted from ever stepping foot in the US? Not just a few rejections here and there. We're talking full-on visa denial mode. Tight borders, endless paperwork, and nearly impossible approval odds. Could your country be on that list? Or worse, is it there for reasons nobody talks about? From war zones and political chaos to deep-rooted distrust between nations, these places are almost invisible on America's welcome list. And guess what? Some of these countries used to have strong US ties until everything flipped. Buckle up, because we're breaking down 10 Asian countries that never get US visas and why. Please make sure to watch the video until the very end, as we will be summarizing the key takeaways and offering our final thoughts. Let's start with Afghanistan. They wait in lines for hours, clutching faded documents and the smallest thread of hope. But if you're from Afghanistan, odds are you're never setting foot on US soil. Since the Taliban returned to power in 2021, visa approvals have dropped to nearly zero. The US suspended most embassy operations in Kabul, and now Afghan applicants are forced to travel to other countries just to apply, only to face rejection rates of over 90%. It's a heartbreaking loop. You'd think translators who helped US troops would get prioritized. Some do, but guess what? Even they face years of delays. The country is now trapped in a cycle of uncertainty. Visas are blocked, the process is broken, and the line of people desperate for escape, it just keeps growing. Imagine needing to flee for your life, yet being told no over and over again. That's the reality, and it's not getting better anytime soon. The human cost of these policies is immense, affecting countless individuals and families seeking safety or opportunity. The bureaucratic hurdles compound the desperation, leaving many in a state of prolonged limbo, unable to move forward with their lives. This situation underscores the complex interplay between geopolitical realities and individual human lives, often with devastating consequences for those caught in the middle. The suspension of embassy services not only makes the application process incredibly difficult, but also severs a vital link for communication and support for those navigating the treacherous path to potential refuge. The sheer scale of rejections points towards a systemic issue rather than individual application flaws, reflecting broader policy decisions and strained international relations. For those few who manage to navigate the labyrinthine process, the prolonged waiting periods add another layer of anxiety and instability, making long-term planning virtually impossible. The plight of Afghan applicants highlights a stark contrast between stated humanitarian values and the practical realities of immigration policy in times of crisis. Next up, North Korea. You probably already guessed it. There's one country that's almost impossible to escape from. We're talking about North Korea, where getting a US visa is basically science fiction. The US hasn't had a functioning embassy there in decades. And even if a North Korean citizen managed to reach a country with a US consulate, the chance of approval? Less than 1%. Most North Koreans aren't even allowed to leave their own borders, let alone apply for a visa. And those who do manage to flee? Many risk their lives just crossing into China. But here's the real shocker. Even defectors who've made it out safely often struggle to find countries that will help them reunite with family in the US. The diplomatic wall is just too high. It's not just red tape. It's barbed wire, censorship, and total control. That's why you'll almost never meet someone with a North Korean passport in America. The isolationist policies of the North Korean regime create an environment where external contact is severely restricted, making the prospect of emigration, especially to the United States, an almost unattainable dream. The lack of diplomatic presence means there are no official channels within the country for visa applications, forcing potential applicants into perilous journeys through third countries. Even for the rare individuals who escape, the path to resettlement is fraught with challenges, as international recognition and support systems are often complicated by the political sensitivities surrounding North Korea. The incredibly low approval rate reflects the extreme vetting processes and the deep-seated political tensions between the U.S. and North Korea. The stories of defectors often highlight harrowing escapes and subsequent difficulties in navigating asylum processes, painting a grim picture of the barriers faced by those seeking freedom from the oppressive regime. This stringent reality serves as a stark reminder of the human consequences of geopolitical standoffs and closed borders. Moving on to Iran. You might be surprised to hear that just a few decades ago, American tourists and students were all over this country's cities, shopping, learning, and enjoying one of the oldest cultures on Earth. But today, Iran is one of the hardest places for citizens to get approved for a U.S. visa. Why? It's not just politics. It's history, mistrust, and a mountain of red tape. After the 1979 revolution, diplomatic ties were cut. And even now, decades later, there's still no official U.S. embassy in Iran. That means every Iranian seeking a U.S. visa has to go through a third country, like Turkey or the UAE, adding more cost, more risk, and more delays. But here's what makes it worse. Iran has one of the highest U.S. visa refusal rates in Asia, with many applicants facing rejection simply for being from the region. You'd be shocked how many qualified students, scientists, and even relatives of American citizens are denied with no clear explanation. Thousands apply every year, hoping for a shot at education, work, or reuniting with family, and most walk away empty-handed. And guess what? Even those who make it through the first few steps can wait months, or even years, for a response, often just to be told no. The process is long, draining, and unpredictable. There's always that lingering question: will I even get the chance to go? Meanwhile, back home, families wait, opportunities vanish, and hope gets smaller with every email that never arrives. What used to be a bridge between two cultures is now a canyon of silence. Now here's the real twist. Many Iranians are some of the most highly educated applicants, fluent in English, with strong ties to home. But still, their applications are stamped denied. Why? Security screening, past diplomatic strain, and a trust gap so wide that it swallows even the most genuine intentions. This isn't about guilt or blame. It's about a long, complicated history, one that still echoes in every denied visa and every missed opportunity. The requirement to apply through third countries adds significant financial and logistical burdens, making the process inaccessible for many. The high refusal rate, often without specific justification, creates a sense of arbitrary exclusion and deep frustration among applicants who meet all apparent criteria. Let's discuss Syria. They fill out the forms, they gather their documents, they do everything by the book. But if you're from Syria, chances are you're not getting a U.S. visa, no matter what. Since the start of the civil war in 2011, the situation has gone from bad to nearly impossible. The U.S. embassy in Damascus closed years ago. Now, Syrian applicants have to travel to nearby countries just to get an interview, assuming they even make it that far. But here's the kicker. The U.S. visa approval rate for Syrians is one of the lowest in the world. It doesn't matter if you're a student, a doctor, or a family member trying to reunite with loved ones. The result is often the same: visa denied. You'd be shocked at how many families have been separated for years, stuck in limbo because of paperwork, policy, or pure uncertainty. And then there's the safety risk. Many Syrians applying for visas are fleeing violence, hoping for asylum or emergency relocation. But those cases are reviewed under intense scrutiny, and often, the system just can't keep up. Some have waited over 5 years for a decision that never comes. Here's something most people don't realize. A lot of Syrian applicants aren't just seeking a better life. They're trying to survive. But guess what? Even humanitarian visas are rare, and travel bans in past years made the process even harder. People with legitimate reasons to travel, attending conferences, continuing studies, visiting family, are caught in the middle of a diplomatic no-man's land. And what happens when the process fails? Many turn to riskier options. Smugglers, fake documents, dangerous routes, all because the legal way is blocked at every turn. It's a silent crisis, one that doesn't make headlines but plays out in embassy waiting rooms and rejection letters every day. The ongoing conflict has created one of the largest refugee crises of our time, yet the pathways to safety in countries like the US remain incredibly narrow and difficult to navigate. The closure of the Damascus embassy forces applicants to undertake perilous journeys just to access consular services, adding danger to an already desperate situation. The intense security screening, while understandable from a national security perspective, results in lengthy delays and high rejection rates, even for those with compelling humanitarian claims. Consider Yemen. Try to picture this. Your home is surrounded by conflict, clean water is a luxury, and bombs fall closer every day. You finally gather the courage to apply for a US visa, hoping for safety. But if you're from Yemen, that dream is almost always out of reach. The US visa approval rate for Yemeni citizens is shockingly low, with many applicants either ignored or denied outright, ever since the civil war escalated in 2015. Getting a US visa has gone from difficult to nearly impossible. Why? Because the US embassy in Sana'a was closed years ago due to the conflict and hasn't reopened since. Yemenis are forced to travel to third countries like Egypt or Djibouti just to apply, assuming they even make it out safely. But here's what really stings. Even children and families seeking reunification are frequently denied, despite meeting every requirement. You'd be shocked how many American citizens have families stuck in Yemen, unable to bring them over due to years of backlogs, slow processing, or cases being silently closed without reason. And guess what? Many applicants never hear back. No answer, no updates, just silence. Others are stuck in administrative processing purgatory that can stretch for years. It's like applying into a void. The war has destroyed infrastructure and devastated lives, but for those trying to escape it legally, the system often works against them. There's no fast track, no clear communication, and almost no hope for most. Even those applying for humanitarian parole, one of the last remaining options, are facing massive delays and often rejections. It's a heartbreaking situation that leaves families stranded and futures frozen in place. And here's a chilling thought. Some Yemenis with valid visas have been turned away mid-travel due to shifting policies. All that preparation, all that hope, crushed at the airport gate. The visa wall is tall for many countries, but for Yemen, it's practically impenetrable. The humanitarian crisis in Yemen is profound, yet the avenues for seeking refuge in the US are extremely limited and fraught with bureaucratic obstacles. The closure of the embassy is a significant barrier, forcing vulnerable individuals into even more precarious situations as they attempt to reach consular services elsewhere. Let's look at Iraq. He risked his life to help American troops, served as a translator, and followed every rule. But if he's from Iraq, even that loyalty doesn't guarantee a US visa. Years after the war, and despite strong historical ties, Iraqi citizens still face some of the strictest screening procedures in the world when applying for US visas. You'd think being an ally might help, but guess what? It often doesn't. Since the early 2000s, the process for Iraqis has become one of the most difficult. Background checks are extensive and slow, and approval rates remain extremely low, especially for those without political or military connections. Even student and business visas are incredibly rare. Many applicants wait years, spend thousands, and never get a response. The U.S. Embassy in Baghdad operates under tight security, with frequent closures, rescheduled interviews, and backlogs that stretch endlessly. That makes it almost impossible to build a life-changing opportunity out of that one visa appointment. And here's the eye-opener. There are thousands of Iraqi Special Immigrant Visa, SIV, Applicants who directly supported U.S. missions, yet many are still waiting, some for over 10 years, while their cases collect dust. Some are in hiding, fearing for their lives. Others have already lost family while hoping for help that never came. Even families of Iraqi Americans often struggle to visit loved ones. One misstep in paperwork, or one change in global policy, can set everything back to zero. It's a maze of uncertainty. Meanwhile, those desperate to flee conflict or persecution have fewer and fewer legal paths left. Rejections are common, and resettlement options shrinking fast. The legacy of the Iraq War continues to cast a long shadow over the visa process, creating immense hurdles even for those who actively assisted U.S. forces. The stringent security measures and bureaucratic delays reflect ongoing concerns, but they disproportionately affect ordinary Iraqis seeking travel for education, work, or family reunification. Now, Pakistan. You've got the grades, you've got the job offer, you've even paid the application fee. But if you're from Pakistan, that still might not be enough to get a U.S. visa approved. Here's the shocker. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Pakistani applicants try to enter the U.S. for school, work, or to visit family. But the rejection rate is sky high. According to U.S. State Department data, the B1, B2 tourist and business visa rejection rate for Pakistan in recent years has hovered around 70%, sometimes even higher. That means more than 2 out of 3 applications are turned down. So what's going on? Despite having one of the largest diaspora populations in the U.S., Pakistanis face layers of extra screening, scrutiny, and delays. Even students with full scholarships at top universities have had their visas denied without a clear reason. Some applicants have been asked to prove they won't overstay, even if they have round-trip tickets, strong financial backing, and a return job offer. And here's the frustrating part. Most rejections come without specific explanations, no guidance, no appeal. Just a short message. Application refused under Section 214(b). That's it. You'd be shocked how many people are left in the dark, wondering what went wrong. Even families trying to reunite face challenges. Spouses, elderly parents, and even children with American sponsors sometimes face endless wait times or rejections. Administrative processing can take months, sometimes even years, while life plans hang in limbo. And guess what? There are deeper issues too. Consular operations in major cities like Karachi and Islamabad are often overwhelmed. Interview dates are limited, processing is slow, and sudden policy shifts can cancel appointments with zero notice. Pakistani applicants often have to travel to another city, take time off work, and spend hundreds of dollars, only to be met with a 2-minute interview and a denial. It's a harsh reality, and it's not talked about enough. The high denial rate, particularly under Section 214(b), which relates to demonstrating non-immigrant intent, suggests a pervasive skepticism about applicants' intentions to return home. This blanket suspicion affects a wide range of applicants, from highly qualified professionals and students to families simply wishing to visit relatives. Let's turn to Bangladesh. You've waited months. You've prepped everything. The paperwork is spotless. But if you're applying from Bangladesh, chances are you're not getting that U.S. visa. Here's the cold reality. In recent years, more than 50% of visa applications from Bangladeshi citizens have been denied. Tourist visas, student visas, even family reunification. None of it's safe from rejection. And you'd be surprised how tight the rules have become, even for those with clean records, financial proof, and legitimate intentions. So why the high denial rate? U.S. consulates in Dhaka cite overstay concerns as one of the biggest reasons. That means if they suspect there's even a small chance you won't return home, you're out. And guess what? That suspicion often falls hardest on young applicants, especially men in their 20s and 30s, even when they have strong ties back home. And here's the shocker. Many rejections aren't based on what you've done wrong, but what they think you might do. That's a tough hurdle to clear, especially when there's no appeal system, no chance to clarify or fix mistakes. Just no. But the pressure doesn't stop there. Some Bangladeshi students accepted into American universities with full-ride scholarships have been denied their visas weeks before their flights. No backup plan, just heartbreak and missed opportunity. For many, That one visa denial can derail years of preparation and hard work. Then there are the families. Parents hoping to attend a child's graduation. Relatives hoping to visit new grandkids in America. Often left in tears outside the consulate, clutching passports stamped refused. And with the interview wait times growing longer, sometimes over 400 days, you might wait over a year just to be told no in under 3 minutes. That's the brutal reality for thousands every year. The significant emphasis on potential overstay risk creates a challenging environment for applicants from Bangladesh. Demonstrating sufficient ties to their home country becomes paramount. Yet the interpretation of these ties can feel subjective and opaque to the applicants. The high denial rate for even fully funded students is particularly disheartening, suggesting that factors beyond individual merit heavily influence outcomes. Next, consider Palestine. You have the dream, you've got the invitation, your family's already waiting for you in the US. But if your passport says Palestine, the odds are stacked against you. You'd be shocked how many Palestinian applicants are automatically sidelined, not because of what they've done, but simply because of where they're from. The US doesn't officially recognize Palestine as a sovereign state, which complicates almost everything, from applying for a visa to even choosing your nationality on the form. Most Palestinians apply through US embassies in nearby countries like Jordan, Egypt, or Israel. But guess what? Even then, rejection rates remain high, especially for young males and applicants without strong, documented financial ties. The fear? Overstaying. And just like that, dreams of visiting family, attending college, or even seeking medical help vanish. And here's the silent barrier: mobility itself. Gaza residents, for instance, often can't even leave to reach the US Embassy. Even if they get approved, just getting to the airport becomes an obstacle course of checkpoints, restrictions, and permits that may never come. Thousands try each year, only a small percentage make it through. And for many, there's no clear reason given, just a cold, stamped refusal. No appeal, no answers. The lack of official U.S. recognition of Palestine creates unique and significant bureaucratic hurdles. Applicants often face difficulties simply establishing their identity and travel permissions in a way that aligns with U.S. requirements. The reliance on embassies in neighboring countries adds layers of complexity, involving border crossings that can be unpredictable and subject to closure. For residents of Gaza, the physical blockade imposes severe restrictions on movement, often making it impossible to attend visa interviews even if one is granted. This geopolitical reality translates into profound personal hardship, separating families and thwarting opportunities for education, work, and essential travel. Finally, Myanmar, Burma. You've got the acceptance letter from a U.S. university. Your paperwork is flawless. You've even got funding. But if you're from Myanmar, that still might not be enough to unlock a U.S. visa. Why? Because applicants from Myanmar are caught in a perfect storm of bureaucracy, politics, and suspicion. Over the past few years, visa denial rates for Myanmar have skyrocketed, especially following political instability and global sanctions. You'd be shocked to know that even students, doctors, and professionals have been rejected for the smallest reasons, or sometimes no reason at all. The U.S. Department of State frequently lists Myanmar among high-risk nations, which means every application is treated with elevated scrutiny. But here's the catch. Myanmar citizens can't just walk into an embassy in their home country. Many must travel to Bangkok, Thailand, or elsewhere just to apply. That's extra costs, extra delays, and still, a high chance of rejection. Even family reunification cases, parents visiting children in the U.S. or vice versa, are tangled in endless processing times and sudden denials. People wait years for interviews, only to be told your visa is refused under Section 214B. And just like that, the journey ends before it begins. The political situation in Myanmar, particularly after recent upheavals, has significantly impacted the visa process. Increased scrutiny and sanctions mean that even well-qualified applicants face substantial obstacles. The need to travel to a third country for consular services adds a significant burden, particularly for those with limited resources. The high denial rates, often attributed to the broad non-immigrant intent clause, Section 214B, leave many applicants without clear recourse or understanding of why they were refused. This creates a cycle of frustration and uncertainty, impacting individuals seeking education, family connection, or refuge. So, what did we just uncover? From Afghanistan to Myanmar, these are countries where getting a U.S. visa feels like hitting a locked door, again and again. Some are denied due to diplomatic complexities, others because of overstay fears. But the result is the same: millions left in limbo. It's not just paperwork, it's people, students with dreams, families trying to reunite, travelers hoping to explore. But guess what? The system doesn't make it easy. It's a complex web of political tensions, security concerns, bureaucratic hurdles, and deep-seated mistrust. For many applicants from these 10 Asian nations, the path to the United States is fraught with uncertainty, lengthy delays, high costs, and ultimately, a distressingly high probability of denial, often with little explanation or recourse. This reality shatters dreams, separates families, and highlights the stark human impact of international relations and stringent immigration policies. The reasons vary, from active conflict and lack of diplomatic relations to high perceived risks of overstaying and the sheer weight of administrative backlogs. But the outcome is frequently a closed door. If you found this eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to see the truth behind the visa wall. We've got more facts, more stories, and more shocking breakdowns coming your way. Stay tuned and stay curious. Thank you for watching our channel, and please, let us know your thoughts and where you're from in the comments below. Your engagement helps us immensely.